Hey man, good to meet you. Good to see you. How's it going?
Yeah, very well. First time we've properly spoken. You have been a customer of mine since about February, I think.
It's a few months,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're now in May, just hit the 1st of May at the time of recording this. And you are based where?
Lithuania. My business is based in the UK,
Yeah.
but I'm married to a Lithuanian, so we just set up shop here. But yeah, so just in Europe, in the Baltics.
Nice. And what's the name of your agency?
My agency is just named after me, Liam Price Digital,
Yeah.
and what me and you are working on is my version of High Level, which I've got the SaaS mode version of High Level, and I've white labeled it as Music School Growth Formula because I work with music schools.
Yeah.
It's Music School Growth Formula is like a product of Liam Price Digital. That's how I think about it. Maybe if I was thinking earlier on, I probably would have just rolled it into one company name or something, but how it is now.
Sure. So how did you end up talking just to music schools as a niche?
Oh, that's a really interesting question, actually. So I started out with way back in 2019. I was a music teacher in China, teaching in a high school,
Okay.
and I got disillusioned with my job. I couldn't get a promotion, and I was like, "Shit, I can't." Sorry, but I couldn't teach in Western countries. I didn't have a teaching degree, and I was like, "God, I need to do something that so that my wife isn't completely unhappy in China forever." I was like, "Hey," I started writing a book, and that turns out to be really difficult. Then I started seeing ads online about some guy who was like, "Hey, learn how to make money as an expat," and I was like, "This is gonna be the end." But it was like the perfectly written ad for me, and he's still my mentor now. I ended up going for it. It's like, here's how to run a marketing agency. I was like, awesome, cool. Anyway, he's insisted you got to pick a niche. You got to pick a niche. I didn't. I was just jumping from everything, anyone who would speak to me, until he
Yeah.
said, "Liam, 6 months," and he was like, "Who have you been working with? Guitar teachers, mortgage brokers, yoga teachers, PT." And he's like, "Who are most of your clients?" Like, guitar teachers. "You're doing music schools." Okay. And it was such a relief to have someone just tell me my niche.
Yeah.
Anyway, so since then, I've never looked back. Music teachers it is. And there are enough of them. And the funny thing is, I think when I first started, it was like there was this idea of everyone wants to go into mortgage brokers, real estates, and chiropractors and dentists and things like that. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, that's really lucrative. But I actually really like my little sub niche over here. It's got a
Yeah.
personal link to it. It's like a passion project as well as obviously it's a financial thing.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into them and just
Yeah.
working with them exclusively.
So I speak to because in addition to having Growthable, I'm fairly involved with the community from an affiliate point of view and this type of thing. Other agency owners starting out, and they always ask me the question: Do I niche? Do I not niche? Blah blah blah. And I think you get different schools of thought, right? But I think one thing that I think is consistent is that if you if you have expertise because of your background in an area and you're able to work in that sector, then immediately like you're bringing like credibility and know-how and domain expertise into that space. And so it would be advantageous for you to lean on your experience. And then in addition to that, I think that niching down, it should evolve, right? It shouldn't. I don't know anyone that could just be like, I'm going to go after dentists and that's it. And they just kill it in dentistry. I think that's
Yes.
happened maybe once. But what you've done is you're like, anyone who will talk to me, and you probably were able to bring on the critical mass, and the majority were music teachers because you knew the language and you knew the customer and you knew their
That's
mind.
exactly what
So
it was.
you ended up with a large majority of them, and then someone said, that's what you're going to do. And is that the evolution? Is that, yeah, because I feel like that a lot of people,
Yeah,
they want to get it
pretty
perfect
much.
before they launch, and it's just to go and talk to people.
Pretty much, but when I was talking to people of all different types, it was actually because I was scared and worried that I wasn't going to get another client. And I was like, there surely can't be enough mortgage brokers in the world. I think I've gone through all of them on LinkedIn. No, I'm going to speak to someone else. And yeah, but I think actually the question about niche, I know there's a subtopic of today,
Mm.
but I think it really is. If I was going to work with, and I do now. My mentor that I took on in 2019, I was the top student in his group, and he's since discontinued his coaching program, and now I'm mentoring the remainder. And so one of these questions always comes up: got to niche down. And I think like you can come from a place of some kind of personal link, and so in my case, it was just like, hey, I didn't actually speak to mortgage brokers because they were too like just I don't know, boring for me or something like that. It wasn't maybe just not my type of person. But
Yeah.
music teachers kind of okay, I get this type of person.
Yeah.
But also, I think the longer you work in a space, a couple of things happen. Firstly, you accrue more social proof and testimonials and success stories. So that automatically makes it easier to get clients anyway. I just get people coming to me now month to month. I don't really get lots of referrals, but I do get just people drifting into my ecosystem and they're like, hey, I saw you and you've got all these results. And also, the longer you stay in a place, the more you get to actually develop that product into something cool. Because like I think people get a bit like worried about niching down like I was at the beginning, which maybe there isn't enough to go around or something. But actually it's actually very liberating because once you niche down, you can that's like the surface level stuff you're doing when you initially start out. And then you can get really deep into the niche and start doing some really interesting stuff there, which you wouldn't be able to if you were just kind of niche hopping or just chasing the most lucrative niche that you can find or something.
Yeah.
So, I think it develops really nicely if you do niche down. You can really get, you can be very creative later on with the actual service provided and stuff.
Yeah. I remember when I first logged in to your system, I was just like, whoa, it didn't look like GoHighLevel at all, right? And some people go to a crazy degree of customization in terms of the user experience and stuff like that, and some people don't. I personally don't. But yeah, you even had the menus horizontal rather than vertical, which I've never seen before.
Oh, really? I think that's like the major change I did. And
Right,
it was, I was in the high level group and people were like, hey, high levels become so ubiquitous now. You want to stand apart, try a horizontal menu. I was like, good idea. So I, I did that.
Yeah. So look, and then I talk about your agency as one of the it's absolute proof that there's a niche for everyone, and you're never going to know what that is. You might have some idea, as we just said, but I mentioned it like when I'm doing interviews, which is not that often, but someone's asking me about me and blah blah blah, I'll be like, I got everything from music schools to this. You're one of the extreme examples where I'm like, there's more people out there in the world that need this tech and this efficiencies and automation, all that sort of stuff, beyond just real estate people and dentists, right? There's a big world out there. So.
Yeah, the same ones tend to crop up everywhere. But yeah, and just for if anybody's watching, I was actually scared going into music schools thinking there can't be enough and they can't pay enough. But I think my mentor, for example, he was dealing with expats, broke expats who are teaching English abroad, and that was his niche, and he made millions. So it's
Nice.
like, yeah. So there's, as you say, there's a niche for everything, and I don't think there's obviously some more lucrative niches, but they tend to be more competitive and so on. Yeah.
So so that leads to be really keen to get a bit of an idea on what do you mentioned a Facebook group in this customer journey. I have a responsibility for some of your customer journey, but let's talk the interesting stuff, which is sales and marketing, right? Your customer acquisition process. What does it look like? Like, how are you getting these clients, right? And are you running ads? Are you going word of mouth? Like, what's the main driver?
Yeah, I used to start off with automated LinkedIn, almost like friend requests or connection requests, right? And then I would have an initial message that blasts out, and then I would be like really ready to quickly message people and do a fairly. So it went through a few evolutions of direct messenger appointment booking, right? It was initially it was just like, here's my pitch, do you want to chat? And it was like a free, this is what I do, interest in a chat. Then I realized, then I was taught like, hey, that's getting tiresome for people. You have to have a chat with them, which is find a pain point first, have a casual chat, and then suggest to help on a strategy session, which took me a long time to figure out, but actually it's nicer because then they got on the call a bit warmer and less cagey. Now, then I started
on LinkedIn.
Say again?
music schools are on LinkedIn.
I was doing it on LinkedIn and Facebook and
Yeah.
Gumtree. Actually, Gumtree, I would just throw a pitch at. So Gumtree people have like adverts, like, "Hey, I'm doing guitar lessons in this area." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I saw your ad. I do this for people interested in a chat."
Yeah.
And so I had these three things, and that kind of started my business off. Then I started dropping people into a free group that I made, which slowly accrue members. And then I would do what people call to action posts, or 2 steps, where it's like, "Hey, I just made this thing. Who wants it? Comment me in the post," and then reply and set up a meeting. And I had started building up my email list. And then from the same mentor that I started with, then I worked on a kind of paid ad strategy, which I'm still doing now. So most of my clients come from paid ads at the moment. I like to have them off as much as possible because it's horrible, but it's between £50 and £400 a day sometimes, which is awful. But yeah, so they come through either into my Facebook group if they don't book a call, or they just book a call with me. And so there's a VSL, so they get pre-warmed up. And yeah, I'm just looking for the fastest way to essentially get them on my calendar and then sign them up. And I'm sure there's other ways of doing that I'm thinking at the back of my mind, like webinars and things like that, where it's maybe just a bit more efficient, because right now it's one-to-one still. But yeah, that's how they're coming on. Just paid ads, group stuff. I don't do any DM stuff at the moment unless somebody's been really chatty with me for a long time. Somebody from my group, we've almost developed like a friendship or something, and then it's not really a stranger at that point.
Getcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like, again, it's the evolution. Like, you start with outbound, you generate enough that you can set aside a little bit of inbound budget, and then the outbound tapers off whilst the inbound increases. And then you're like, the inbound is so measurable and consistent that I know £100 a day, this many customers at the end of that month, run it, right? And $1 in equals 10 out. So therefore, put 1 in, get 10 out, put 2 in, get 20 out, whatever.
Yes, I think it's like, that's an easy place to take your foot off the gas as well, which is what I almost invariably always do, which is, hey, ads are running, I'm feeling fine. And then I look at the outgoings of the ad account, I'm like, this is horrible. And then I'm slightly panicking. I'm like, I should really do some organic stuff, just because organic is like 100% profit practically. It's all free essentially, but obviously it takes your time. And if you're doing that evolution, you're at that point where I don't really want to do organic because I don't need to, because I don't want to put the time in. But like, you should, because it works in conjunction with your paid ad stuff. But it's just something that's so easy to take your eye off when you've got that paid stuff going.
So, and let's just say, so do you have a number that you could share, or you could just say tens or hundreds, but how many sub accounts would you be having, would be active on Music School Growth Formula today?
Yeah, not that many. I'm aiming for 50. I've got 45, which is, I've in the past, in total, I've probably had something like 65 or 70 or something like that. So I've had a fair amount of churn, but not forgetting the evolution thing. I completely didn't know what I'm doing. And I'm starting to iron out my processes now, where I used to, my service was around, I got like a good, I have a coaching program. It was a kind of full coaching program, and I'd take people on and I would say, here's how you do my kind of ads, because it wasn't always a coaching program. I usually done for you advertising music schools, and I was like, hey, I can turn it into a coaching program. And then I was teaching them on like ClickFunnels and ActiveCampaign and MailChimp and all that kind of stuff until I got GoHighLevel. Now about 35, 40 of my clients were using this old stuff. And I'm like, would have been really nice to have had GoHighLevel right from the start. So I started trying to get them back onto it and revamp my coaching program and stuff. And everybody that I've tried to get back on hasn't really stuck, but the new people have stuck. So yeah, it's a new adaptation.
1 second, I've got a child standing right there.
Okay.
Can you hear the blowing?
Yeah.
It's very loud. It's all the way up.
I said turn it down. Can you please not come back in whilst I'm on the call?
Oh.
It's all right. We can edit that out. Yeah. Okay. So that's very cool. We have a very similar, because I have an agency. I ran an agency for a long time, and everything was outbound. Like, I didn't run a single ad. I had a LinkedIn automation section that I ran 24/7, and that was extremely lucrative from how much business I got out of it. And then it was just like, okay, I had a real estate agent, I had a beauty salon, and then I had a billion dollar revenue Microsoft. I had Google as a customer at one point.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, like indirectly, because they can't sell to they don't want to sell direct to the consumer. They have to use like a channel partner. And so they give the channel partner money, and the channel partner hires an agency, and I was that agency, and blah, blah, blah. But I didn't want to be in that space. I knew it, but I didn't want to be in that space. And I ended up just slowly just letting them go churn. And I ended up with what is now my niche, which is membership-based organizations like associations and whatnot. But I'm like, whoever watches this recording, like if they've ever had a conversation with me on a coaching call or something like that, my advice has been pretty consistent, which is let the niche and let the market happen to you, because it will. Do you know what I mean? Rather than trying to go, I need everything to be perfect. I need to know my market. My total addressable market is this, blah, 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 blah. So just go and speak to 20 businesses. Who cares what they are? And you might think that dentistry, like even if you did 20 years at a dentist, right? And you know everything about the dentistry, that might be boring to you now, right? So why do it, right? Or you think that your niche is going to be real estate, and then you speak to all these real estate people and they're horrible to deal with, and you go, I'm not doing that anymore, right?
Yes.
All of those things play a part. Yeah. Yeah, real estate it was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, mortgage brokers were just like that. My dad was a mortgage broker, so I was like, oh, there's a natural link there. And it was just like, just did not like talking to them. Not for if you're a mortgage broker, and it's not, I don't like you personally. It's just, I just didn't like the way they spoke and did business. It was just like, this is too aggressive for me.
Yeah, everything's a transaction, and they're all commission based. And so it's hard to articulate the value of something they need to pay month to month, because they attribute everything that they do to writing checks or selling houses or whatever element they're in. And so everything's down to those transactions. And they go through those periods of like high volume and low volume. And so it's like, you've got to try to, if you're pitching like software as a service, it's like trying to explain to them like, no, this is just the same as like your electricity bill. Like, you just got to pay it. You need it. It's mission critical, right? But why would I pay that if it's not helping me close the deal? So it is, because nothing. You don't have the electricity on, nothing's working. They don't get to the end of the quarter and go, I just want to thank my electricity company for keeping the power. Right?
No, that's true. But it's not any easier. Just like in the music education niche, like, as I said, like I had all those clients already. They should already trust me. They've already gotten results. I'm like, hey, this thing will help you. And they're like, nah. So it's like, no, I don't want to pay $97 a month or whatever. It's, come on. But the new people, they're a lot easier to point in that direction, at least. And I think that at least I've got a solid process now. So I take people onto my coaching program. So I do a kind of one-time payment thing. So and then I would say you've got your ad costs to worry about, and you've got your tools to worry about. The tool we use is this, and I put it on the checkout page. My coaching program is already checked, and then it says free 30-day trial of marketing software accounts. I don't even give it a name, I'm just like marketing software. And then after that, $97 a month. So that's my built-in retainer, or what you call repeat business, right? Because that's what got me into the high level thing. I was like, when I first started running ads, I did 13 sales in 1 month, but I even then it was like a crazy month of 60 grand predicted revenue. Obviously it was some plans and some stuff, but I was like, this is great, but I feel awful. And I can't see myself just doing call after call like this. I feel like there's got to be more than this. There's got to be a better way, even though it is like the best month I've ever done. And since still, but like I spent the time to work out the infrastructure. Plus I really like systems myself rather than the actual coaching stuff. And so since I've got this high level stuff, and it's taken me taking me a little time to figure out how to do this properly. But to get that repeat business on the back is really nice. And I think it's a really attractive offer because from their point of view, it's, oh, I just pay once. It's like, yeah, tools are just ancillary. You were going to pay those anyway. And some people kick up a fuss about this, which I discovered when I tried to get people back on from before. And that's why I'm selling it right at the start now. I used to sell the coaching program, and then one of the first videos in the coaching program would be like, okay, first steps, you need this software.
Right.
And I was like, nobody would do it. They would skip past. They'd be like, how can I do this for free without the software? So
Yeah.
I can't really. Especially because I've added a few like things like Zappy Chat is in there. It's like you're not going to be able to do what Zappy Chat does for free somewhere else. You can't, it's not, I don't know, but that's a client management thing. Like we all get those clients who think they just know better than you. It's like, this is my day and night. Like I do this all the time. You're not going to stumble across something that I haven't figured out.
Yes.
Anyway, so now I'm selling it on the sales call. I'm just like, hey, if you're ready, here's the checkout page. And then sometimes I have a couple of questions at the start, right on there. So what's this thing? Remember how I said about the expenses? Yeah, that's that. Oh, okay. So it's like a really nice handling. You don't have to. So since then, every client that I bring on it's like a intertwined thing. So starting to figure that out. And so I said I was aiming for 50, but my secret goal is I'm aiming for 100 because I really want that gold award from GoHighLevel. That's just completely a ego thing.
Oh yeah, I want it too.
But yeah, I saw that come up last year. I was like, God damn, I need that award.
Yes. Yeah, you're way ahead of me. Your numbers are looking good. After I changed, I felt like I started from the beginning again. And so anyway, volume it's not my game at the moment. It's the ticket price, which is my game at the moment, but I'm switching into volume. Okay, I think what I'd obviously love to hear is just a bit about, obviously we came into knowing each other because I'm providing service to you guys. I'm acting as basically the customer success function. Someone signs up, they're getting support, etc. I think we ran some stats, and I think we've taken off since March. I think it's February. It was like, what did we say? 9 hours? 9 hours of conversation, which would have otherwise gone to you. So has it made a difference?
Look, it's just me, and I have one assistant, and she's amazing as well. I am not one of those people who can grow teams very easily because I'm just basically worried about everything. And so if I'm doing something, I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. But I think, like me and Clarice, so basically we take people on and we work with them in our Facebook group.
Yeah.
And now a lot of people, as we got more and more clients, I was like, hey, Clarice, can you help out in the group? Because she wasn't initially interested. No problem, especially with GoHighLevel questions, right?
Yeah.
So she was able to, she's obviously knows that stuff. And then it became half of the questions in our group were like GoHighLevel related. And I was like, God, I'm getting pinged 100 times on my Facebook notifications a day. And this is insane. And I also get like a pit in my stomach each time I see those notifications. I'm like, oh, because it's not like when someone's asking questions, it's not usually a good thing. It's not, hey, Liam's this stuff is awesome. It's your stuff is broken again. Having the next obvious choice was like, okay, I could hire a dedicated person and do that. Or we went with you and your team, Growthable, which was just awesome. I was like, hey, look, I definitely need a solution for this. And I wasn't sure whether like it was going to be a long-term thing. I'm definitely sure now, but I wasn't sure. I was just trying stuff out. And like, I need to somehow alleviate some of this stuff. Because also it's a topic as well. It's like, questions about calendars is not really... like the purpose of the whole program. The program get more music students. So how do I plug in my Google integration? It's completely irrelevant. I went with Growthable, and it's so great because it's just a little widget as well. I'm really looking forward to fine-tuning my widget as well because, as you said, I've customized my thing. And so I think it's just, I'm just looking to, there's a searchable knowledge base that you said, and I was like, that seems cool. But I need to just fit it in with my customizations. And that would be really cool because it's like just other white label solutions that I've seen and work. I did use one before, but they have this big flyout menu of knowledge base and plus a widget. And I like everything just compact in one spot. I think it's really neat because your customers aren't learning two things then, they're just learning one, and the simpler the better, because if there is a way to screw something up, they will find the way to screw it up, right?
Yeah.
So if there's a knowledge base on a custom menu link and a widget, they're just going to not know which one to use and then message me anyway. I like the fact that it's one spot rather than multiple areas that the client has to learn, because like me and you, GoHighLevel's like our jam, and I don't mean to sound like a nerd or something, but it's just, you spend all day in there, you're going to get quite good, and you're going to know where everything is regardless. Like it's, whereas the client, from their point of view, it's like, oh, I need this thing to get more students. And it's really, there's, looking at GoHighLevel now, I don't think it's that complicated because I live there.
Yeah.
But and then you add in an extra menu link for support plus a widget down here and all this kind of stuff. And they're just, anything to make it simpler is a good thing. And I think having just a simple help floating widget that opens up everything, whether it's the knowledge base or the live chat support or anything, is so good, because I can just say on a welcome video, if you need help with this tool, here's the help, here's the knowledge base, or something like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was amazing. And yeah, they saved like 9 hours. So that's, it's not even really like, the time saved isn't really even is not even the thing, really. I think it's like, it's the heartache. And it's a tough job. And I thank you and your team and your agents for taking on, because basically when people have support questions, they're going to be a bit grumpy.
Yeah.
It's typically going to be like, I'm frustrated with this thing and I can't make it work. And like, when it's nice to have that flack redirected in a sense, because I'm supposed to be like their leader, their community leader. And it's, do you really want everyone mad at the leader? Because it undermines your authority in a way and their trust in you. But also, I think it's like this idea where when you go into private doctors, you won't pay the doctor, you'll pay the receptionist.
Yeah.
And the receptionist will deal with your cattiness and whatever.
Yeah.
And the doctors, that's just going to be some kind of completely professional conversation.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that it's something like this, where taking away that heartache is a really nice feeling, because I don't resent. Yeah, I think that's where I'm coming to. It's like, I don't resent my clients and they don't resent me.
Yeah.
The good working relationship is preserved for longer, for as long as possible between all of us.
It's a really good way to put it. And I think the fact that you value that over the time, I think they're equally as important. But I mean, when I used to do lead generation for LinkedIn, part of the proposition is like, I used to invent profiles. I could just make up a profile. I'd go and get a photo from thispersondoesnotexist.com and I'd give them a fake name and all this type of stuff. And I would say, look, if you're reaching out as you and someone, as they do, you get someone on the wrong side of their day or whatever, and they just get into you, right? And so it's not you, and it's not your brand that's copying that negative. And it's, I suppose it's a similar thing with customer success or whatever. Like, it's going to be like, I get to see the conversations coming through, and whenever I have a minute, I'm checking to see what people are asking, and it's usually about a calendar and this and that and the other. The impact to them is if they've missed a booking or the booking hasn't come through or whatever, but that's money, right? It's costing them. And so, of course, there's this negative, there's a thing, whatever. But now it's just the platform, and it works by design, and there's just things that we need to work through to make it work, right? And it's not Liam Price is a jerk, and it's not your time poor, can't deal with me or whatever. It's a nice way to triage and deflect, deflect, I should say. It's no negative brand equity from Liam Price or Music School Rest Formula comes as a result of someone just having support tickets or support questions, which I think is it's a qualitative measurement, but it's an important measurement.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. It's sometimes they will still come to me for a extremely niche specific thing, which obviously I understand that Growthable, like they don't necessarily know exactly what I'm doing, because I could say, but there's going to be times where it's, oh, okay, I have to step in here. And those times are totally fine, obviously, because those are the higher level questions.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun, but those higher level questions that's what we want to be dealing with as well, which is like the more interesting stuff from my point of view as the agency owner. And
so for sure, it's sort of like, you can deal with, dealing with something that's a business process and this and that and the other, and ultimately making a big impact on someone's business. That's where you want to spend your time. You don't want to spend your time with, did the integration work when you click the button? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Great. Look, I think that's all I really wanted to talk to you about. I'm really fascinated about your agency, as I said. Like when I first logged in and I saw music schools, and when it was me, when I first started, it was me and the staff and some of the team, and I was still doing some of these calls because we do a lot of Zoom calls. Like we offer to just jump on Zooms, and we'd be talking to someone in Cambodia who's a guitar teacher and stuff like this. And it was just fascinating. I was like, this has got to be the most interesting niche that I've come across. So when you make it up on stage, when you get your 100 sub accounts, to go and take your gold award, you'd be like, I do music schools. And I just think it's awesome. Well done on all your success, by the way.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Yeah. And thanks so much for dealing with the guitar teacher in Cambodia. He's a New York kind of guy, very direct, to the point.
Yeah.
If something's going wrong, I'm almost like a dad and a son. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see the 100 award given to you hopefully this year, right?
Hopefully this year.
Yeah.
I've got a vague plan. I just picked up a bunch of new sub accounts, and I did a slight different service to my coaching program. I came up with my coaching program mostly because I was told to by the mentor, but also when I used to do done for you ads, I was getting a lot of churn. Like they would stick with me for a month, and then even though the results were great, in my point of view, it wasn't enough to keep them around month after month. But you can understand, like a guitar teacher, guitar teacher, they're not looking for millions upon millions of dollars, and they're not looking for even 100 grand a year, really. They're looking for enough money to rent their own place and get out the house share, that kind of stuff. So anyway, they would cancel after a month after they got 10 students. They'd be like, hey, cheers, thanks a lot. So I was like, hey, coaching program, I can just do a one-time bigger fee, and they just stick with me forever, and I'll just support them. But I just did this new thing, and I'm going back to done for you ads almost with a simpler offer without all the bells and whistles of the coaching program. And it's just a pay per lead, which I love because you don't have to do a retainer. You don't have to get on a sales call. So even back in the day, I was doing sales calls for £600, which isn't an awful lot for a sales call, but that was back when I was learning. But now is, hey, all we need for this pay per lead thing is this software, and we do $15 a lead, something like that. And it's such an easy yes for people who already know me, people on my email list, people on my Facebook group. And I don't know, I just threw it out there on Monday, and I got 10 new sub accounts or something. And I was like, oh, damn, this might be too much to deal with. But that's cool. So I'm thinking I can just keep doing that maybe for a bit and hopefully get my 100 gold award. That'd be fun.
You'll get there. Sounds good. Are you looking? Do you have any third-party plugins that you mentioned? Zappy Chat. I've never think I've ever heard of Zappy Chat before, but
Zappy Chat's with GoHighLevel Pro Tools with Matt Desno.
Yeah.
So it's an integration that they've got with OpenAI.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm great at getting leads, and I'm sure everybody in this game is great at getting leads. But for my niche, I can get leads for like sometimes $1 or something.
Yeah.
And then they'll say, hey, these leads aren't booking in. It's okay. It's just because you're not calling them. So the Zappy Chat is a automated kind of text response thing that plugs into your GoHighLevel calendars and so on, and it chats with the lead, integrates with OpenAI, which you give a remote prompt. So it programs it to be like a receptionist, and then it will talk on behalf of your client and get them booked in for a consultation or whatever. So that's really cool. So that's Zappy Chat, and I recommend it because it's boosted the amount of trials I've booked or consultations I've booked without my clients having to do anything. And so I always think anything I can do to make their lives easier, the less bitching they're doing at me. So anything I can do to make it easier for them. The other one I just tried out recently is UpHex.
Okay, what did you think?
I really like it again because I used to do funnels and crap like this, and it's like UpHex. Okay, we've loaded all our templates on, we've got our client custom values, all this kind of stuff. So I've got these ads that are working already. Load up all your ads, obviously, because another thing about this was like my assistant was doing a lot of the ad setup.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd get someone coming back to me like, hey, the ad description says online lessons. Do you remember we were doing in-person lessons? I'm like, oh yeah. And then UpHex takes care of that because it's all pre-saved in a kind of library that just API pushes to Business Manager. So you don't make those kind of mistakes. Again, it's a subtle thing that clients will just be slightly losing their trust in you. Like based on how I work, I don't think they care an awful lot, but I care. And so that solves that forever. It's like, click, your ads are done. And then my assistant just needs to go back into the sub account and turn on the right workflows and give the right prompts to the Zappy chat bot and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really nice turnkey solution. I'm trying to get our client setup time down to an afternoon, but right now it takes it's probably just mostly because we're lazy.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. UpHex for me, yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. Trying to get more people on it. Yeah, the Zappy thing, that sounds great.
Anything to avoid building
OpenAI like integration now is good. I actually just trained a bot to do high-level support. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I just fed it all of the documentation online, and then it's a bot. It's, how do I do this? And it just lists, just goes bang, do it all. So
that would be cool. Wow, that would be really cool.
Yeah, you're on the right plan. You're getting it. So don't worry about it.
Because it will know everything. Because the other thing is like sometimes I'll get on support with literal GoHighLevel support and they don't know. I'm like, no, that's not right. And I'll know it's not right because because I know that thing or whatever. And I was like, no, that's not right. It's this thing instead. But the bot, presumably if you fed it all the data of the entire help docs and knowledge library, it won't get things wrong.
Yep. We're just to plug myself, we already have that. And we are releasing a white label version of that. So you can say, so instead of it thinking it's GoHighLevel, it's just going to think it's MSGF or whatever. But
that's insane. How does it deal with, because I'm curious, but how does it deal with the memory? Because I understand that OpenAI has some kind of memory loss after the first many characters.
So we use third party for our onboarding, etc. And they have a way to basically, I think they create it's a subset of the machine learning model that can be trained with an infinite number of sources. And they just made it very easy for us to say, is the source structured raw data? Or do you want us to send a crawler out and index all these URLs and crawl every piece of information on this the same way Google would index a website? You go, go and crawl help.gohighlevel.com, and it returned over 1,000 pieces of information, and that took 20 seconds, and then 30 seconds later you had a fully automated bot that could answer absolutely anything about high level.
It's ridiculous. That's so cool.
It is very cool. I was blown away by the fact that,
because then you could do, I'm just thinking, presumably then that could be like your frontline chat response, and then anything that it can't or seems to need special attention, you would just need a few agents that are like live chat jump in if the bot can't handle it, or Zoom chat or whatever. That's really cool. Wow.
So we're just releasing it this week actually, so you're gonna get it.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
No worries. Look, mate, awesome talking to you, or to finally meet you, not in person, you're in Lithuania, but thanks for having a chat with me, and good luck with the rest of the year. And I'm sure you're going to get to 100 hopefully before October with Dallas.
It'll be good.
So thanks again.
Cool, good to meet you, man, and thanks so much for this interview.
Liam, your website, if anybody's interested, go to it.
If you're a music teacher and you're interested, liampricedigital.com.